If you don't know your numbers, buying in Spain could cost you a lot more than you actually think. Every month, Warner and I meet and speak to a lot of clients who think they know their numbers, but in reality, they don't. This can cause them a lot of delays, extra stress. It's so important that as part of your preparation, you spend time upfront to really know your numbers, understand your taxes and costs that you may not have actually thought about. So by the end of this episode, we will ensure that you're super clear on knowing your numbers and all of what that entails. Right, Warner?
Yep, absolutely. Knowing your numbers is critical for buying a property in Spain.
So we see this all the time, right? Buyers who arrive, they're excited, they start their property consultation calls with you. They have a dream, what they want, they think they know their budget, but lo and behold, the costs stack up. They're not actually prepared. And, it can lead to a lot of disappointment. So the key question here that I want to know, Warner, is why does this happen so often?
I think because people have a dream of buying a property and watching programs like Place in the Sun, which are 5 or 10 years older, and they think they can get the perfect property, the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, for under 200,000. So they have that idea. They go to the exhibitions, and people tell them, yeah, this is possible. And then when they actually come to the ground and see the reality, it's a bit of a shock because that's what they had in their heads.
So let's paint the picture on this a little bit. You're sitting at home, it's September, winter is on the way, it's dark outside. You turn on your TV when you get home from work and you're engrossed in all of these beautiful relocation programs that really paint the picture of you can have your dream property in Spain for 200,000 on the beach, new, everything that you actually want. You leave, feeling, oh my goodness, this dream is possible for me. They come across you, they jump on a property consultation call with you and, bing, you burst their bubble. So why is that? Why are you bursting their bubble?
Because they have to be realistic. I can't come over and say, yeah, you can get that, build relationships with them. They come over because from the start to the finish, when you have a client, you could be 3, 4, 5 or 6 months. And if I'm giving them false hope that they can buy a property at this, and then at the end of that 6 months, I've wasted my time. They've wasted their time. So I like to be upfront and honest at the start.
Okay, so it's about being really transparent from that first interaction regarding what is your actual budget, painting a picture of what that's going to get you in your desired area, and then also ensuring that they've planned correctly for things like taxes, okay, and hidden costs. Now, I see this a lot. It's a pitfall that people fall into. They have a budget, but they don't always ensure that that's actually a gross budget, right? So what do we mean by their gross budget?
Well, what we mean by the gross budget is how much the property price is going to be, plus your taxes. And Spain loves taxes. So they need to understand what is the taxes on top of that so that they have the gross budget.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about those taxes. What are they?
Okay, so I'll just take an example. Like in the UK, if you're buying a property at 200,000, you might pay 1% stamp duty. Well, it's different in Spain. If you're buying a property in Spain, especially in Costa del Sol and Andalusia, then the stamp duty is 7%.
Okay.
And then you have on top of that, you have notary fees, which would basically transfer it from the old owner's name to your name and also provide the title deed. And then you have your lawyer, which we always recommend you use a lawyer because you're buying in a foreign country. And then you have miscellaneous fees like your NIE. And if you're going for a mortgage, then there might be bank fees and everything else. So it's really important that when you come here on the ground that you have your gross budget.
Okay.
The good thing about it is if a property is here and it's over your budget, then normally, depending on the situation of the owners, they would be open to offers.
We're going to park that one for a second, and I want to take a step back to the gross budget because let's do some girl maths for me. Okay, so you
Okay.
named out all of these different components that make up, the extra costs, the hidden costs. But like, give me a total. So if I say, okay, I have 200,000, that's what I want to search for my property. What 200,000 plus what do I need to allocate?
Okay, so if you're buying without cash, you need to have 220,000 to buy a 200,000 property. You will get change back, but it depends on how much that they can cost. But overall, we work on a 10%.
Okay, so from a purpose of simplicity, 10%, but sometimes I see you referencing 12% in our material. So 10%, 12%, what do I need to take into consideration?
Well, that depends if you need finance, you need a mortgage. Obviously, you have costs from the banks, different lenders do different conditions.
Okay.
But the mortgage person will actually tell you, what those costs are, and then you can add the 10% onto them to come to
Okay.
the reality.
So your budget for your property plus between 10 and 12%, depending on your circumstances or your situations. Okay, so that will be your gross budget, your total budget that you need to take into consideration. Warner mentioned the word transparency earlier on. Now, I'm going to give you a very real situation that happened already this week. We had a Canadian client book in for a consultation call with us on Tuesday evening. And when I started to look through the pre-qualifying questions, we noticed that actually their budget wouldn't get them what they actually wanted on the Costa del Sol, and they hadn't actually built in enough for their taxes and their hidden costs. What did we do in that situation? Politely replied to them and gave them a very, very transparent reflection of what the real situation was like here on the Costa del Sol. Because this may mean that if they're not prepared to sacrifice on their requirements, they may need to go away and look at things for another 3 months. They might need to see, do they have investments sitting elsewhere that they can cash in? They might want to move some money around, but it's important to have those conversations up from the beginning, or else it will lead to disappointment. Now, sometimes people will go away and they'll say, right, I need a little bit more time. I didn't realize they were my costs that I had to take into consideration. The other scenario that happens is people actually re-look at their requirements. So what do we mean by that? Very real situation that has happened over the summer. They might sacrifice that second bedroom and just proceed with a 1 bedroom in a location that's perfect for them, right, Warner?
Yeah, so you have to make sacrifices. If they've chosen this area and the budget is not going to stretch to a 2 bedroom, then they need to downsize to a 1 bedroom and look at it as a bit, well, why am I buying the property? What's the reason for it? Because if they're buying it for the family, then you can have a sofa bed there, but at least you've got the location that you're looking for.
Yeah. So this really goes back to you and what you want and your own requirements. If you're not prepared to sacrifice on location, you might need to sacrifice some other things. That second bedroom, community with a pool. Instead of being frontline beach, you might decide I'm going to go second or third line beach, but still be within walking distance of the beach. Or maybe you flip it on its head completely and decide, actually, I'm going to look at another location completely, which is what people often do. But if you're not prepared to wait and there isn't opportunity to cash in and take money elsewhere to give you exactly what you want, then you have to go back to the drawing board. And this is why, first and foremost, when you work with us as part of your preparation, we're going to ask you from the offset about your budget. Have you thought about things correctly? Have you prepared correctly when it comes to, preparing this part of your property search, right?
Yeah, no, it's totally. We had the clients in last week, and they keep on. They have a dream. They were up in Costa Blanca. They didn't like Costa Blanca. They have their heart set in the Costa del Sol, but they just don't have the budget for what they want. So they have to make sacrifices. They have to. Sometimes a gem will come, but for that gem to come, they need to be working with a really good agent. They need to have everything prepared in regards to lawyers, deposit, everything ready to go, so that when that gem does come, they can go straight away.
Let's flip it on its head a little bit and let's go for the glass half full rather than glass half empty angle. We also work with our clients when we get this really right. So because we focus so much on our clients' education from the offset, preparing them correctly, making sure they have access to the right resources like our budget calculator and our free online resources, the majority of our clients are really well prepared. So when it comes to the property consultation call, they go away with their homework. They know what to work with, plan property, they plan buying trip number one, and we have more check-in calls after that with them. And then they probably come back and do their next tour and then they're ready to buy. Why does that happen? Why are they ready to buy? I guess my question is, to be more specific, what makes this process go well? How do people get what they want?
What makes this process go well is because every time that they come or they learn a certain piece of information, they're chipping away. So location, okay, I've found my location. Budget, I have my budget. Taxis, lawyers, everything. And every time they're chipping away, eventually it's just, I need to find the property. And when you have all them, like, I've not known anybody we're working with hasn't found a property that's so focused on buying in that area. There is a property out there. It's just a case of being prepared and being ready to get that property.
Yeah. Okay, so on that note, describe to me or paint the picture for me, end to end, the perfect client that's prepared and ready to go. What does that look like?
Okay, so we have a discovery call where we speak to the client, get to know why he wants to buy in the Costa del Sol, what areas has he been to before, what locations does he like, is he a beach person, does he like the countryside, once we iron all that out. And also, does he like me? Do we build rapport? Does he see value in me? Once that's done, then we introduce them to the lawyer, because it's really important that they have everything that they need in regards to NIE numbers, bank accounts opening up, and the power of attorney. Then the next step will be to search for the property. Before they come to Spain, I would have been also giving them homework. Here's different portals, find out what you like, and getting an idea of what kind of property that the client's looking for. I would have probably sent them 10 examples. Once they're there, maybe 2 or 3 months, we have 5 ones that they really like to see. We make a date. We arrange the viewings for the properties, and normally 9 times out of 10, one of those properties are for them.
So even before the consultation call with us, we've usually sent them some homework to do.
Of course.
So it could be download our buyer's guide, work on our ultimate checklist to really nail your requirements.
Yeah.
Listen, we cherry pick out some podcasts for them depending on their journey, where they feel, where we feel it might be relevant for them. And we send them a link to our budget calculator.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our budget calculator. So it's a resource that we created. It's actually a mini course, really. It's a video talking through all of your taxes that you need to be prepared with. And it's almost like a file that maps out all of your costs based on different scenarios. So we always gift this to our clients to ensure that they're crystal clear on their numbers so that there's no ambiguity. And it's also a resource it's supported on an online platform, so they can use it as much as they want and go in and out of it and plug in different scenarios. So let's say, for example, we talked about the negative scenario, somebody isn't ready now. They can go away, do their homework, and then come back to the budget calculator at a later stage and work on a new scenario. So that's been really helpful. And I guess what we try to do is we try to create these educational resources, particularly if it's somebody where this is their first buying experience in Spain, that we are preparing them as optimally as we possibly can to ensure that there's no surprises and that we get things to go as smoothly as possible, right?
Yeah, like our resource section on the website is absolutely amazing. Not only do you get the buyer's guides, you get the checklist, you get the budget calculator, and you have an online course about buying in the Costa del Sol. So everything is there for you. And then you get us two that really work with them so that they can find the perfect property. And as working, we're helping a lot of people have that dream, and that dream's becoming a reality.
Yeah, we're really invested in your journey.
Yeah.
So if you work with us, we want to ensure that you're prepared in the best possible way. And if you're disappointed, we're disappointed. So we try as much as possible to avoid those circumstances. I think when people are prepared as well, they're not really wasting time. They're kind of crystal clear. They're razor focused on what they're looking for. They know they've been prepped and guided. And that's amazing. But there is one thing that you alluded to earlier that I just want to go back to. And that's that I guess the negotiation process works differently in Spain than people are often used to in their home country. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Spain, predominantly, the prices that you're seeing in the property, depending on if it's the perfect property, perfect location, it's going to sell, there's lots of buyers there, then the price wise is probably on point. But then if you have a potential property that is a price, but you needed to add value, or you needed to renovate or modern, or it's not the best location or the best view, then that property is not the perfect property. So there will be less buyers for that. I'm not saying there, but there's a good opportunity there that the owner will accept offers. And depending on the demand for it, it depends on where the owner is.
So let's talk about the mindset shift that often a foreign buyer needs to make. So I'm quoting a client that we've had over summer, a couple from London. They felt that they were offending the seller by going in with a low ball offer. Now, there's a balancing act there, isn't there? We need to be careful that we structure negotiations that don't offend, that are so low ball. However, it is a different market setting than what you might be coming from. So negotiation is encouraged. It's part of the fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. And when we go and list a property, we have an idea of the minimum and maximum, and we try and position that property at the value where we know we're going to get people through the door to put offers or to buy it. So it's really important that we don't go out over that price, because then we just have a property sitting on the market because it's overvalued. It's so important.
Okay. So if somebody's listening at home right now and they have that long-term plan, they want to purchase their property along the Costa del Sol, even short-term plan, again, they feel like, oh God, I don't want to be caught out now when it comes to my costs. Maybe I haven't thought about my budget correctly. What should they do first?
Oh, download the budget calculator.
Absolutely.
You open it up, put what you think you can afford, and then it'll tell you how much that's going to cost you to buy that.
So there you've heard it from Warner. If you want to know your numbers, if you want to study this part to be uber prepared, go to our website, www.wlcostaproperties.net. Make your way to the resources section, budget calculator, download it. It will be delivered directly to your inbox. This is the best tool out there, in my opinion, to support you to get crystal clear on knowing your numbers and to avoid further disappointment down the line. If you want to talk to us personally, we do make a number of property consultation calls available each week, each month. Go to the book a call section of our website, pick a time that's convenient and suitable for you, and we will speak to you very soon. Thank you for stopping by. Ciao for now.
Bye bye.